Welcome back to Bible Noggin. For today's quiz, we will be talking about Abraham. As we do with the rest of our quizzes, questions will increase in difficulty from easy to medium and hard. We have 45 questions in this quiz, 7 seconds to answer each question. One correct answer equals 1 point. Keep track of your own score as we go along. Go ahead and subscribe, and let's get started. What was Abraham's name before God changed it? Abram, Abimelech, or Haran? Abram. Look at Genesis 17, verse 5. Next. Who was Abraham's wife? Sarah, Rachel, or Rebekah? Sarah. Genesis 17:15. Next. Where did God tell Abraham to leave from? Haran, Ur, or Egypt? Ur. Genesis 15 and verse 7. Next. Abraham was promised descendants as numerous as what? The stars, field, or the trees? The stars. Genesis 15, verse 5. Next. What did God promise to make Abraham? A mighty warrior, a great nation, or a king of Egypt? A great nation. Genesis chapter 12, verse 2. Who went with Abraham when he first obeyed God's call? Isaac, Ishmael, or Lot? Lot. Genesis 12, verse 4. Next. What animal did Abraham offer instead of Isaac? A ram, a goat, or a sheep? A ram. Genesis 22:13. Next. How old was Abraham when Isaac was born? 75, 85, or 100? 100. Genesis 21, verse 5. Next. What city did Abraham plead for God to spare? Jericho, Nineveh, or Sodom? Sodom. Look at Genesis 18, verses 23 through 32. What was the name of Abraham's servant who found a wife for Isaac? Eleazar, Eli, or Elkanah? Eleazar. Genesis 24, verse 2. Next. God told Abraham that through his seed all nations would be what? Destroyed, blessed, or tested? Blessed. Genesis 22, verse 18. Next. Who was Abraham's first son? Isaac, Ishmael, or Jacob? Ishmael. Genesis 16, verse 15. Next question. Who was Isaac's mother? Hagar, Keturah, or Sarah? Sarah. Genesis 21, verse 3. Next. How many visitors came to Abraham just before Sodom's destruction? 1, 2, or 3? 3. Look at Genesis 18, verse 2. Next. What did Sarah do when God promised them a son? Laughed, cried, or built an altar? She laughed. Genesis 17, verse 17. You've made it through the easy questions. Let's level up. Go ahead and like the video. What was the name of Hagar and Abraham's son? Ishmael, Isaac, or Esau? Ishmael. Genesis 16, verse 15. Next. Who was the king of Salem who blessed Abraham? Abimelech, Melchizedek, or Pharaoh? Melchizedek. Genesis 14, verse 18. Next, Abraham gave Melchizedek a tenth of all the what? People, spoil, or land? Spoil. Genesis 14, verse 20. Next, how did Abraham's servant know Rebekah was the right woman? She was beautiful, she fed his camels, or she was a relative? She fed his camels. Genesis 24:19. Next, what land was promised to Abraham's descendants? Egypt, Canaan, or Assyria? Canaan. Genesis 17, verse 8. Next, Abraham built an altar between Bethel and where? Ai, Hebron, or Jericho? Ai. Genesis 12, verse 8. Next question. Who looked back at Sodom and became a pillar of salt? Lot's wife, Lot's daughter, or Abraham's servant? Lot's wife. Genesis 19, verse 28. Next, Abraham pleaded with God to spare Sodom if there were at least how many righteous people? 5, 10, or 50? 10. Look at Genesis 18, verse 32. Next, who visited Abraham to tell him Sarah would have a son? 3 men, 2 angels, or 1 prophet? 3 men. Look at Genesis 18, verse 2. Next, what mountain did Abraham go to offer Isaac? Mount Moriah, Mount Sinai, or Mount Zion? Mount Moriah. Genesis 22, verse 2. When Abraham saw the ram, it was caught by its what? Legs, horns, or wool? Horns. Genesis 22:13. Next, how did Sarah laugh when she was told they would have a child? Internally, outwardly, or not at all? Internally. Look at Genesis 18, verse 12. Next, in Genesis 18:25, Abraham said to God, "Shall not the judge of all the earth do what? Righteously, good, or right?" Right. Genesis 18:25. Next, after Sarah died, who did Abraham marry? Hagar, Keturah, or Rebekah? Keturah. Genesis 25, verse 1. Next, how old was Sarah when Isaac was born? 80, 90, or 100? "90. Look at Genesis 17, verse 17. Congratulations, you've made it through the medium questions. Go ahead and like the video as we go to the hard questions. What king took Sarah into his house but was warned by God in a dream? Pharaoh, Melchizedek, or Abimelech? Abimelech. Genesis 20, verse 3. Next, when God confirmed his covenant, what did he change Abram's name to? Israel, Abraham, or Jacob? Abraham. Genesis 17, verse 5. Next, the name Abraham means father of many what? Sons, nations, or tribes? Nations. Genesis 17, verse 5. Next, what else was in Abraham's vision with the smoking furnace? A cow, an altar, or a burning lamp? A burning lamp. Genesis 15, verse 17. Next, how old was Abraham when God made a covenant with him? 75, 86, or 99? 99. Look at Genesis 17, verse 1. Next, what did Abraham tell Isaac that God would provide? A lamb, a sacrifice, or a ram? A lamb. Look at Genesis 22, verse 8. Next, who buried Abraham when he died? Isaac and Ishmael, Isaac and Jacob, or Jacob and Esau? Isaac and Ishmael. Look at Genesis 25, verse 9. Next, Abraham purchased the cave of Machpelah from who? Ephron the Hittite, Lot, or Abimelech? Ephron the Hittite. Genesis 23, verse 16. Next, what was Abraham's age when he died? 120, 175, or 200? 175. Look at Genesis 25, verse 7. Next, Abraham built altars in several places. Which was not one of them? Bethel, Hebron, or Egypt? Egypt. Look at Genesis 12 and 13. Next, Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for Isaac from his own what? Country, tribe, or city? Country. Genesis 24, verse 4. What did Abraham's servant do before meeting Rebekah at the well? Prayed to God, talked with locals, or set up camp? Prayed to God. Genesis 18, verses 4 and 5. When Abraham rescued Lot, how many trained servants did he take with him? 118, 218, or 318? 318. Look at Genesis 14, verse 14. Next, which king made a promise to Abraham concerning a well of water? Abimelech, Pharaoh, or Melchizedek? Abimelech. Genesis chapter 21. Last question. How many years passed between God's first promise to make Abraham's great nation and the birth of Isaac? 25 years. Look at Genesis chapter 12 and chapter 21. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let us know your score in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.